Your target. It's a wyvern, a dragon without wings. Its black scales seem to absorb what little light there is and its red eyes are filled with malice. It's a creature of darkness and death and it's your job to kill it. You nock an arrow and draw your bow. You've hunted many things but none like this. You hide behind the trees and keep as quiet as you can. You are a master of the bow but this is no simple beast. It's a creature of darkness and it's more than your arrow will stop. You ready your bow and wait. Any moment the wyvern will appear and then you'll have your chance at revenge. Greater than you determine the dragon's weakness. You ready your bow and wait. Any moment the wyvern will appear and then you'll have your chance at revenge. You've seen the beast in battle, you know its weaknesses. The problem is, so does the beast and it exploits them with deadly efficiency. You head to the nearest village and seek out a wizard to help you to kill the dragon. I'll do it. You say. Revenge, is it? The wizard says, I understand, the wyvern did destroy your village. It's a creature of darkness and it had help from the necromancer Eric, but I'm afraid I can't help you. You say, can anyone help me to slay this menacing dragon who has destroyed my village? I can. A voice says. You turn, and see a young woman with long brown hair and a bow at her side. I'll help you. She says. I'm Rebecca. You say, what can you do that will help me slay the dragon? I can shoot the dragon while you distract it. Rebecca says. You realize she has a point, and agree to let her help you. The pair of you set off towards the cave where the dragon dwells. As you enter the cave you feel a sense of dread overcome you. You say wait for my signal and you blind the dragon with your arrows. Got it. Rebecca says. As you walk through the cave, you feel a sense of impending doom. Suddenly, the dragon appears. You immediately stop, and pull out your bow. You wait for your opening. Then fire. You say aha, I got you right where I want you. You fire at the dragon, but he's quick and dodges out of the way. He lets out a roar and flies forward, smashing into you. The pair of you fall to the ground as the dragon grabs your neck in his mouth and squeezes, breaking it instantly. You say okay, this has been a really crappy day. The dragon roars and smashes you into the ground repeatedly, breaking your bones. You're dead within seconds. You wake up from this terrible nightmare. It was a dream. Just a dream. There's no dragon. You're still in your bed, in your room. You take a deep breath and relax. You hear a scratching at the door. Scrap. You hear an awful screeching noise at your window. You look outside through the window. It's pitch black. You can't see a thing. What the hell am I doing? You think to yourself. You go back to bed and try to get some sleep, hoping that you don't have the nightmare again. You wake up the next morning and find that your dad has already left for work. You think to yourself, what should you do now? Well, you've still got that bag of money that the robbers gave you. You could go to the store and buy something nice, perhaps a new video game. Or, you could give the bag of money back to the bank. It is stealing after all. You walk down to the nearest bank and go inside. Hi, you say to the teller, I'd like to give this money back to the bank. The teller looks at you nervously. Okay? Do you have a safe deposit box? No, you say. I'll get a manager. Um, okay, the teller says. We'll give you your reward tomorrow. You go home, and sure enough, you find a small sum of money in your mailbox. You smile to yourself. The bank manager is pretty nice. He doesn't give you a reward, but he also doesn't call the police. There's $20 here. You decide to buy your dad a nice Father's Day gift with it. You rush out to the nearest store and buy him a new tie. Later on in the week, you get a letter in the mail. You tear it open eagerly. It's from your college. Dear Mr. Hayes, we regret to inform you that due to recent financial cuts, we will no longer be able to fund your education at our university. We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Sincerely, Administrator Thomas. Well, there goes your college education. You'll have to get a job soon. But what kind of job are you able to get? I'd like to apply for a job at your bank, you say to the teller. Do you have any experience? She asks. Yeah, I worked at my dad's gas station for a couple years. All right, she says. Come back in an hour and talk to the manager. You go to your bedroom and put on a nice shirt and tie. You look in the mirror and smile. Perfect, you say. You arrive at the bank, and the manager smiles at you. Hello, he says, shaking your hand. I'm Mr. Reynolds. One of my skills is the ability to count money accurately at an unheard of speed, you say. That's great. He says. I'm sure with your skills and experience, you'll be able to handle the job. You start work the next day. It's pretty easy. The hardest part is making small talk with rude customers. How is your day? You ask politely. Don't you start getting too familiar with the customers, Mr. Reynolds growls at you. Now get back to work. You sigh and get back to counting money. It's pretty boring work, but you haven't had any complaints yet. After a few months, the bank gets robbed. You tackle the robber to the ground, and he drops his gun. Arg. You grunt as he punches you in the face. You pick up the gun and point it at him. Drop the gun. You say, but he doesn't listen. Instead, he goes for a button on his sleeve. You quickly shoot him before he can do anything. He falls to the floor, and you handcuff him to a pole. The police come and take the robber away. You did a great job, Mr. Reynolds says to you. Thanks, you say. It was no problem. Well, you still did a great job. I'm giving you a $1,000 bonus for stopping the robber. You smile. Thanks. The next day, you stop two robbers who have stolen $10,000 and manage to catch them because you know a lot about math and science. Greater than you say, Mr. Reynolds. Doesn't math and science help in more ways than you have ever imagined? Yeah, I suppose it does, Mr. Reynolds says. Can I have a raise? You ask. Sure, he says. You're doing great work, and I'm sure my other workers would agree that you deserve a raise. Your salary is now $800 a week. You hope your parents don't find out how much you're making. You go to dinner with your parents at a fancy restaurant. You order a steak, and they order soup and salad. You all have a nice dinner together, until the bill arrives. I'll get it, you say. You take out your wallet, and hand the waiter your credit card. I got it. Your dad says, it's your birthday, so I'll get it. Okay, you say. The waiter takes the credit card, and returns with the bill. Your dad grabs the bill, and puts his card in the check holder. He pays for the meal, and puts the receipt in his wallet. You drive home in your new car that you got for your birthday. You wake up at 8 in the morning, and see your dad packing his suitcase. What are you doing? You ask. I'm going to California, he says. I need to find a new job. Why don't you just stay here and look for a job? I need a change of scenery, he says. I don't think that's a good idea, he says. I need to do this on my own. Okay, you say sadly. You give your father a hug, and he leaves. You go to work at the bank, but you're in a bad mood because of what happened with your father. You snap at the customers and are very rude to them. You go to see your boss in his office. I'm sorry about my behavior yesterday, you say. I had a personal issue that I needed to take care of, and it was bothering me during work. It's okay, he says. I understand. You go back to work, and finish out the day without any more issues. You go to work at the bank the next day, and you're in a much better mood. Everyone says hello to you, and asks how your weekend was. Good, you say. How was yours? It was okay, they say. Thank you for asking. You make it through the rest of your workday without any more issues. You go to the store and buy a dozen red roses for your mom. You walk into her office and hand them to her. What's this for? She asks. No reason, you say. Just wanted to say thanks for being such a great mom. The rest of the day goes by quickly, and you have a great time with your mom. It was okay, she says. Thank you for asking. How come you never told me about my father? You ask. I did, she says. You were too young to remember, but I've always told you about him. No, you didn't, you say. At least, not that I can remember. I did. She says, looking worried. I'm sure I did. You go home and have dinner with your mom. You have a great time, and the day ends well. Good night, honey, she says. I love you. I love you too, Mom, you say. You go to bed that night thinking about your mom. You think about how lucky you are to have such a loving mother, and can't imagine what it would be like to not have her in your life. You call the police and they begin an investigation. They find no signs of forced entry in the house or in her car. You're questioned several times, but after a few months the police clear you and say it's likely that your mother just left of her own accord. You never learn what happened to her. Greater than, you write a letter to your father to inform him about his wife. You write a letter to your father about what happened to your mother. You send it off with a warning that he shouldn't try to find you, and you get on with your life. Life is hard without your mother. You have to find a new job, and move into a new place. Eventually, you meet someone else, get married, and have a family of your own. You inform your boss at the bank that your mother has disappeared, and that you'll need some time off to take care of things. He informs the rest of the staff, who all send their condolences, and you have a week off from work to sort things out. You go through Mom's room, trying to find any clues as to where she might have gone. You find a postcard addressed to her from a place called Brightvale. The postmark is recent, so you decide that this is probably where she's gone. You call the number on the back of the postcard, and ask for her, but the person who answers has never heard of her. You say that you're her son, and that you're trying to find her. The person on the other end of the line sympathizes, but says that they've never heard of her. You hang up the phone, and sigh. You've done all you can do. You find that, over the next few days, you begin to forget about your mother. The police stop by a few times, but they don't turn up any new information. Eventually, they give up, and you move on with your life. At the bank, and eventually retire. My children never learn about their grandmother. You take a long trip to Great Britain. You stay there for a few weeks, and learn about its history and culture. You have a great time, and really enjoy the sights. When you get back home, you decide to take up running to help you deal with the stress of work. I'm happy. I'm happy. I've done a lot. I've had a good life. I'm content. The end.